breaks his jaw in 2 places.
Yeah.
And he's fucked. His jaw's wired shut now. He lost teeth.
See, I mean, he made it to the 6th round.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Did they put your teeth back in when they pop out like that, or are they gone forever?
I don't know. But this shit's wired shut for like 6 weeks now.
Yeah. You got to eat nothing but protein shakes.
The silence that fell over the Kaseya Center on December 19th, 2025 wasn't out of respect. It was out of pure shock. For years, we've watched Jake Paul play the villain, the disruptor, and the problem child who claimed he could dethrone the kings of combat sports. But when the dust settled in Miami, the arrogance was gone. There was no trash talk, no post-fight theatrics, and definitely no celebration. There was just a shattered 28-year-old lying on the canvas, his jaw broken in 2 places, realizing that the game he had been playing just got terrifyingly real.
Anthony Joshua hits you with probably his hardest shot. You dropped and said, wow.
I was like, wow, that was nice.
Did he surprise you with his power?
No, but I mean, he surprised my jaw.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like.
It's like a baseball in there. 4 titanium plates. How many do you have?
Just 1.
We aren't talking about a standard boxing loss here. This wasn't a split decision or a controversial referee call. This was a systematic dismantling by Anthony Joshua, a legitimate heavyweight champion who finally collected the debt Jake Paul has been accruing for years. But the most terrifying part of this story isn't the knockout itself, it's what came after. While Jake is currently wired shut and drinking his meals through a straw, Joe Rogan has stepped in with a warning that makes the physical injury look like the easy part. Rogan isn't telling Jake to quit because he's a bad boxer. He's begging him to quit because he believes Jake has officially reached the point of no return.
I mean, look, it's a crazy world. The thing is that I would hope that he recognizes is right now he's doing great, and he's only, whatever he is, 28, I think.
Is he 28?
I think he is. How old is Jake Paul? He's young.
God damn.
And he's probably made 300 million plus in his boxing career. How old is Jake Paul?
He'll be 29 in
Look at that. So he's 28 years old, 29 next month. Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it.
Yeah.
According to Rogan, the punch card is full. The check has been cashed. And if Jake steps back into that ring, he isn't risking another loss. He's risking his sanity, his future, and his life. What exactly did Rogan see that scared him so much? And why is Jake Paul himself now admitting that, for the first time in his life, he is genuinely afraid to die? Let's dive into the aftermath of Judgment Day. To understand why the warnings are so severe, you have to look at what actually happened inside those ropes. The fight was billed as Judgment Day, and for once, the marketing was dead on. For 5 rounds, it looked less like a boxing match and more like a survival horror movie. The narrative leading up to this was that Jake had improved, that his power was legitimate, and that the age gap might favor him. Those illusions shattered the moment Anthony Joshua threw his first meaningful jab.
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or you're gonna get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has spirit. He has some heart. He tried his best, and I take my hat off to him because, number one, a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me, and Jake did. And secondly, even when he got knocked down, he kept on trying to get up, and I take my hat off to him. So America, I think you have someone who could potentially, if he still has the heart for it, come back again, dust dust the dirt off his shoulder and come again and maybe sell out this center sometime in 2026. Maybe against a Javonte Davis, a Ryan Garcia, who knows?
Reports from ringside paint a picture of humiliation that the cameras couldn't fully capture. Commentators noted that by the third round, the bravado had completely evaporated. Jake wasn't boxing, he was running. There were moments where it looked like he was pleading for mercy, overwhelmed by the sheer size and crushing power of a man who has stood toe-to-toe with the scariest heavyweights on the planet. This was the reality check the boxing purists had been waiting for, but it was far uglier than anyone anticipated. When the end came in the 6th round, it was decisive. Joshua didn't just land a punch, he landed a career-altering blow. It was the kind of right hand that separates consciousness from the body instantly. Watching Jake Paul, a man who built an empire on being the loudest voice in the room, crumble into a heap was a stark reminder of the levels to this game. He didn't just lose a fight, he was exposed as a tourist in a land of savages, and the locals finally decided it was time to send him home.
And he was moving as such. He was staying away from him. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this athletic competition, and then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt again. He was fighting. Then it turns to where he can't stay away anymore. So now he's got to go the other way. He's got to go forward. So now he's clinched him. Now he's dropping down to his knees. He's going below the waist. He's getting to double leg positions. He was fighting. These guys were Jake was fighting for his survival, and you could so see it. You could see this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through, not even kill its prey, just make it through. And it was incredible. It was really incredible. So on the back end, some of the comments that I made or that I had heard were so confusing to me. It was a very good competition. I will tell you, it breaks my heart too that Anthony Joshua can't get him out of there in one round. Dave Portnoy had made a comment before the fight. He said, I like Jake. I wish well for Jake. Of course I'm taking Joshua. And then Portnoy made his point. And he said, because I believe in boxing. This isn't if I'm cheering for Jake or if I think that Joshua's more experienced or better. I believe in boxing. I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion. Of course. This is before you get size in there, before you get professional world titles in there. A guy that's done this 11 times cannot go into the Olympic Games and medal. If boxing, in fact, should be believed. I was with Portnoy. I liked it. I liked how he said that. So, that's how I feel too.
The aftermath of that knockout wasn't a bruised ego. It was a medical emergency. Jake didn't walk out of the arena to a press conference. He was rushed to a hospital. The diagnosis was brutal, a double fracture of the jaw. If you've never seen an injury like that, it's not something you simply ice up. We are talking about the mandible snapping in 2 distinct places, requiring immediate surgery to install titanium plates just to hold the bone structure together. In the days following the fight, the reality of his situation set in. Jake is currently missing teeth and will be on a strict liquid diet for weeks, if not months. Imagine the psychological toll of that. You are one of the most famous people on the planet, sitting on millions of dollars, but you can't speak clearly, you can't eat solid food, and every time you look in the mirror, you see the metal-reinforced consequences of your own ambition. This injury serves as a permanent reminder of the difference between influencer boxing and heavyweight boxing. When you fight retired MMA stars or fellow YouTubers, the risk is usually just embarrassment. When you fight Anthony Joshua, the risk is structural damage. This isn't just about pain. It's about the fact that the human head isn't designed to absorb kinetic energy from a 250-pound professional killer. And as bad as the physical damage is, the internal damage might be even worse.
Boy looked like a runaway slave, didn't he? That boy looked like a fish out of water. That boy looked like a lion was chasing his ass, right? You know what I'm saying? Like chasing a gazelle. I thought I was watching National Geographic. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn, this is just crazy. You know, from that aspect, that was the only thing I was in there. I was just like, damn. You know, if he lands one of them right hands, he might kill him. He might kill him. You know, and when he landed that right hand, man, that broke that damn jaw, man. Wow. You know, and Jake Paul didn't go to sleep. That's one tough white boy, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's one tough white boy right there, for real. But anyways, man, that's my thoughts, man. You know, this is what boxing has become. You know, this is what people want to see, I guess.
This is where Joe Rogan enters the story, and his take is what turned this defeat into a dark, cautionary tale. Speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan didn't roast Jake or make fun of the loss. Instead, he got incredibly serious. He introduced a concept known as the punch card theory. Rogan's belief is that every fighter is born with a metaphorical punch card, a limited number of times you can get rattled before your brain simply stops bouncing back. Rogan looked at that knockout punch from Joshua and estimated that it wasn't just one hit. In terms of trauma, it was equivalent to taking 10 normal punches at once. He warned that Jake has likely maxed out his card. The concern here isn't about Jake getting slurring speech in his 60s. Rogan is talking about immediate, catastrophic mental health declines. He explicitly linked this kind of severe head trauma to deep depression and sudden personality shifts.
You know, say if you have like a punch card, you have like so many punches that you can get in your life, which I believe you do. I believe there's a certain number. That one was like 10 punches.
Yeah.
That was like,
yeah.
There was a lot of concussions in that one punch.
Sure.
That was real damage. Like if someone's breaking your jaw in two places, the inside of your fucking head there's a lot of damage going on in there too.
Fuck.
He warned Jake that continuing down this path leads to a dark place where impulse control vanishes. We've seen it with legendary fighters who spiral into gambling addiction, substance abuse, and erratic behavior after they retire. Rogan's message was chillingly clear. There is a price you pay that is not worth it. He is telling Jake that no amount of pay-per-view money can buy back your brain chemistry once it's scrambled. The depression Rogan describes is a chemical imbalance caused by the brain slamming against the skull, and it's a ghost that haunts fighters long after the cheering stops.
And he's probably made $300 million plus in his boxing career. How old is Jake Paul?
He'll be 29 and
look at that. So he's 28 years old, 29 next month. Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And that price is depression, deep depression, a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction. It leads so many people to impulsive behavior. So many people become gambling addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics after their fighting career.
Yeah.
It's you could only take so much. And at a certain, like that one that he got from Joshua,
It seems Rogan's words might be sinking in, because the Jake Paul we saw on the Impulsive podcast post-fight was unrecognizable. Gone was the arrogant showman. In his place was a visibly traumatized young man grappling with his own mortality. In a moment of rare vulnerability, Jake admitted that the experience terrified him. He was quoted saying, "I don't want to die," a phrase that starkly contrasts with his usual "I'm ready to kill" attitude. He spoke about being tired, not just physically exhausted, but tired of the violence, tired of getting hit in the face, tired of putting his life on the line for entertainment. It was a glimpse behind the curtain of the problem child persona. It turns out when you strip away the branding and the cameras, there is a person in there who is genuinely afraid.
Just think my cardio, just the mental pressure of the big guy and sparring the big people is different than the 10-ounce gloves. So I was feeling his power a lot more. But it was a great experience. Like, I learned a lot in there. I can't really fucking talk.
Are you in pain?
Yeah, but
Does it hurt?
it's not from like talking.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like, because you got
It's like a baseball in there.
two
then-
plates,
It just feels like
4 titanium plates.
4 titanium plates. How many do you have?
Just one.
8 screws. 8 screws.
Wait. All right, I got plate in my head, titanium rod in my hand, think that's it. You got me beat.
I hope to God we're not starting an injury contest because the only thing I'll ever win will be metal in body. I have plates and screws throughout my. I have a rod the size of his leg in my
From
femur.
the car crash?
From crashes, ski
Nice,
accidents,
he snapped his ankle.
everything.
That's
you
true.
can
Mike
imagine.
wins.
Can I ask you,
Finally something.
If we're gonna maybe try to do this, I do want to know one thing, because I think one thing that is undeniable is your chin. I mean, anyone who questioned whether or not you had a chin, I think the answer to that question was proven last night. Bro, you can take a shot. Anthony Joshua hits you with probably his hardest shot that we've seen drop every other single fighter that he's fought.
Yeah.
And he hit you in the face, and not only did you not get knocked out, you dropped and said, wow.
I was like, wow, that was nice. I was on the ground. I was like, that was a good shot.
Dude.
Did he surprise you with his power?
No, to be honest, no. But, I mean, he surprised my jaw.
There's that one photo, your jaw looks like kind of off your
snapped,
face.
bro. It's literally snapped.
Dude, when
completely snapped.
After the fight, you were like, I think like one of my teeth is, and you open your mouth out, and I was the first to see it. I went, oh, you broke
your jaw.
This admission is significant. In the fight game, fear is the first sign that you need to leave. If you enter the ring thinking about preserving your life rather than winning the fight, you are already halfway to a hospital bed. Jake seems to have realized that he flew too close to the sun. He isn't talking about a rematch clause or who he wants to call out next. He's talking about survival. He's talking about the fact that he has a fiance and a family, and that the darkness Joe Rogan warned him about is creeping into his peripheral vision. The boxing world has been split down the middle in response to this beatdown. On one side, you have the critics like Eddie Hearn who have been saying this for years. For them, this was the "I told you so" moment. Hearn and others have argued that allowing an influencer, no matter how dedicated, to step in with a heavyweight titan was negligent. They view the fight not as a sporting event, but as a sanctioned execution that never should have been signed. They see Jake's broken jaw as proof that there are levels to this sport that cannot be bypassed with hard work and money alone. On the other side, you have legends like Anderson Silva coming to Jake's defense. Silva praised Jake's courage, noting that most professional boxers wouldn't dare step into the ring with Anthony Joshua, let alone a guy who started on Disney Channel. There is a respect there for the audacity of the attempt, but even the praise is heavy with concern. Bravery is admirable, but bravery doesn't stop brain bleeds.
You know, I think Jake improved a lot. The people need to respect him. I don't say that only because I'm fight here in a company, but it's because Jake, the people need to respect Jake, you know? I mean, every single fight go inside the ring, everybody need respect.
The consensus across the board, from the haters to the supporters, is that the experiment is over. Jake Paul proved he has the heart of a fighter, but he also proved that his body is not invincible. The industry is essentially holding the door open for him to leave, signaling that he has nothing left to prove and everything left to lose if he stays. So, where does Jake Paul go from here? The immediate plan is a total pivot away from violence. Reports indicate that he is taking a massive hiatus to support his fiancée, Yuta Leerdam, as she prepares for the 2026 Winter Olympics. It's a drastic change of pace, from the blood and sweat of a boxing gym to the sidelines of the speed skating track. This break is exactly what the doctors and Joe Rogan ordered, but the question remains, is this a retirement or just a pause? Jake has hinted that he might be done, that the fire has been extinguished by the cold reality of that knockout. However, we know how this story often goes. Fighters are addicted to the rush. The silence of regular life can be deafening for someone used to the roar of a stadium. Will the trauma of the broken jaw and the fear of death keep him away for good? Or will the physical wounds heal, letting the ego slowly creep back in? Joe Rogan fears the latter. He knows that once the pain fades, the memory of the fear fades too, and the itch to compete returns. But if Jake decides to scratch that itch again, he might find that his punch card gets declined in the most tragic way possible.
I was impressed with Jake Paul. I thought that, following on from what we're saying, right? A few years ago, he was on Disney as a kid, acting up, and has decided to become a professional fighter. that takes balls. But he's obviously striving to be as good as he can be. You can see that in the way that he moves, the way that he is developed in how he's punching and performing. But to make a two-time world heavyweight champion that's still live, AJ's still got something about him, to make him miss in such an accomplished manner. All right, so at times he was jumping out and running around, but there were times when he was well in range and still making AJ unable to land a clean, solid shot. He deserves a lot of respect for that. And then the shot that actually finished the fight, that broke his jaw quite badly, didn't put him out. That shot he threw with serious intention has put a lot of professional heavyweights to sleep. He didn't go to sleep. He actually finished on his knees, didn't he? Laughing and spitting blood out of his mouth. So, like they say, it's a special type of crazy and a special type of brave to do it. But I actually, hats off to him, because he showed that he's developing some accomplished little skills in there to look after himself. The size difference is always going to fatigue him.
In the end, the fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua will be remembered less for the boxing and more for the wake-up call it delivered. We watched a man who thought he could hack the system get violently rebooted by reality. Joe Rogan's warning hangs over this entire situation like a dark cloud. There is a price for this life, and Jake has paid a heavy installment. Titanium plates in your face and a wired jaw are high costs, but they are temporary. The depression, the brain damage, and the potential addiction that Rogan warned about, those are the costs that stay with you forever. Jake Paul has all the money in the world, but he's realizing that you can't buy a new brain. He stepped to the edge of the abyss, looked down, and pulled back just in time. The only question now is whether he's smart enough to walk away from the edge for good, or if the problem child will make the fatal mistake of looking back.
What happens? Is this the end of influencer boxing? Does Jake continue? He's got I guess looks like a seemingly bad injury. Both sides of his jaw broken. Even if he intends to box, it's going to take a while. I had heard that Jake Paul and Andrew Tate was going to be rumored to be made eventually or soon. Well, that sort of throws that out the window. Tate got beat the next day. Not that you couldn't make Tate and Jake Paul if they both lost, because you could kind of look at it as a dust-off fight for both of them and make the fight against one another. But because of Jake's injury, you have this issue now where he's got to recover. And honestly, coming from broken two sides of broken jaw is even worse, because you got to test it out. It's, you're not just chewing food or talking. Your jaw has to heal enough to take impact, to spar, to be able to actually box, and not just everyday life's usage of your jaw, like I said, to just chew and talk. So I don't know. That's why I was thinking, like, is this going to be the end of Jake, or because even if he comes back as a boxer, it'll probably could take a year, to be honest. Does he focus on his promotion?
But do you think the problem child should return to the boxing ring in another high-profile fight next year? If so, who would you like him to face next? Let us know in the comments. That's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.